there's a question that's going around. People are worried about AI taking the jobs. It's a hot topic.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a lot of hype around it.
Yeah. I think that's the wrong question, though. I think that the real question is what AI is taking when it takes your job. Is it taking more than your job?
Are we prepared?
Yeah. Well, I don't think most people aren't ready for the answer.
Okay, well, yes, but you have to spell it out because that feels very sort of like vague in a way. Because I think I know what you're about to say. Like that rarely happens, and I think it's going to land a bit hard.
It's supposed to be vague. It's a hook to get people interested to listen more.
Do you want to retake it again?
No.
No, that's great.
I love it. Let's keep that in there.
You're listening to the AI Convergence Podcast, where AI, business, and mindset converge.
So yeah, the lie that most high performers built their lives on is I am what I produce. I am my role. I am my output. And we can broaden that. We've talked about this before. We can broaden that to fathers. I am a father. Mothers. I am a mother, right? And so then we've used this example probably since the beginning of the podcast. Once those children leave, then, oh my gosh, who am I right now that I don't have children to, look after? And so the same thing is happening with AI. So when AI takes that role, it's just like people who were, I don't know, I'll use an example and I don't know if this is factual, but let's say stenographers in courtrooms are now being replaced by AI. But these, which is absolutely plausible if it's not already happening.
Right.
And those stenographers went to class. They've been doing it for years. They, are so good at it. And then now they don't have a job. Well, their whole identity was wrapped around them being a stenographer. And so now who are they? Right. So that's what I mean by AI is taking your job, but it's also taking something else.
Yes. But I think that's not AI's fault.
No.
I think we haven't done a good job of understanding our identity, and we spent most of our lives attaching it to what we do, not who we are.
Yep. Well, and then it's not AI's fault. We could play ignorance. It's always our responsibility, but it kind of makes it hard to be that way whenever you're raised in a cultural society that labels everything that way.
Sure.
Right? Like, you see the people on TV and they're like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, I'm a fitness coach, I'm a this, I'm a that, right?
I'm a thing.
Yep.
Not I'm fatherly, I'm motherly.
Yeah.
I'm a coach with a blah blah blah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Or I am Matthew Aponte and I have a zest for life and I love helping people,
He's
right?
a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's
He's not bad.
He's not bad.
Yeah. Matt's a little cooler. But but yeah, so you know what I mean? And it's about like the thing that you defined yourself by can now be done by software. It's not an abstract, it's a of like, oh, it's taking something away from me. It's literally pulling at your identity.
Yes.
And so,
How does we worked so hard to be good at something, right? And it isn't just being good at something, just part of being human. And that's a value we get from that role, that thing. And you're saying not only are we losing the job, but then the value inherent in that job that we did so well that we practiced getting good at is also now disappearing.
Yeah.
That identity we've attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And being good at something is fine, but there's a difference between being good at something and then being defined by that thing.
Oh, yes. Yes. That's a good clarification.
Yeah. And so we want to make sure that people understand the difference because people can't tell the difference until they lose the thing, right? And they're like, wow, I was a bicycle repair person, right? And so now they were so good at it and they loved it, but now they can't make a living at it. Now, of course, that has nothing to do with AI, but as an example of, going through these different revolutions, right? Some people were amazing farmers, and then that job has been, dwindled down through automation and self-driving tractors and smart systems and all that other stuff. And so, now everything is evolving. And I just think, going back to an earlier comment that you made, is that as a human, it's not AI's fault. It's our fault, because
It's our responsibility.
It's our responsibility.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Not necessarily a fault. It's our responsibility to understand where where our identity or what our identity is wrapped up in. And so, like I've said before, a long time ago, or I've been saying it for the past 2.5 years, AI will one day force us to look in the mirror and say, who the hell am I?
I think it's already doing that.
I think in some cases.
I have to define for the AI, like part of my journey, I've done a lot of pivoting in my lifetime, but I come from a performing arts background. So bringing a character to a situation was an easy thing for me to do. And if I wasn't sure or was unfamiliar with the situation, or if I had to pivot and change or whatever, it was easy for me to do that and sort of take on a persona, if you will, that deals with that situation, right? And that was sort of a natural outcropping of my existence and the things that happened in my life. But I find myself realizing that I have to do the same thing for each of my AIs based on the situation and what they're doing. And I'm putting in, or I'm asking it to be something very specific, right? Well, then in the process of doing it, I have to make sure it's well defined. And if I haven't defined it, that's on me, right? And if I don't have a good understanding of what I'm trying to define, when I'm trying to have you be this thing, to do this very specific set of tasks at this skill level, who's responsible?
You are.
Me.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting mirror. I think you've told this before. You've said this before, that AI is just a mirror really reflecting back to us not only the things we want to hear, but also some of the weaknesses that are there. And I think what you touched on originally too, and I think for this too, is that when it gets to scale, that's where it breaks. That's what we're going to see. The breakdown is those weak points that hadn't been addressed earlier on at scale will not maintain.
Yeah. And that's an amazing point too, and extremely valid. Little clarification. I was literally talking about when you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning. Like whenever AI does 90% of our job and we have all of this free time, and then we're like, gosh, I've spent the last 10, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, being an entrepreneur and a business owner, and now I have free time to do something else. And then you find yourself, I'm speaking from experience, what do I do? Right? Who am I? What habits? You know how many people have over the last 30 days have asked me, like, what hobbies do you have? And I'm like,
blank.
Yeah.
Like blank.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, then what hobbies do you want? And I'm like, build more AI.
I just fill it with more AI work.
Yeah.
I guess because partially, yes, I'm obsessed with it and I do like it, but also I am getting rewarded for using it. It's building things I imagine. And that's a very fascinating creative space to sit in.
It is.
And
it's also a massive dopamine hit.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a client earlier today, during my 7 a.m. workout. And
better than me.
and so just getting back into it. Trust me, it's been a long time. And she was talking about how she was so excited about doing these, these creative things that she's now, because she's taking it off and running with it or whatever. And I said, well, I'd love to sit down with you and talk about your experience around that, because what I would love for you to learn is how to separate that excitement and joy of the work being done and the completion of something and that dopamine rush compared to deadlines that you have to get other things done. You could always fill the space with more of this, but when you have hard deadlines coming, how do you manage that time, and how do you set aside the excitement of the new shiny object long enough to complete the tasks that are coming down the pipeline?
Yeah.
And that kind of operational management of time, I think, is a new thing we're going to see, because you can get something created at the speed of thought.
Yeah.
And that has never happened before. There's never been a time when I can sit there and tell you an idea that I have and have an MVP within 2 hours. Never. We've never had it. And that is super exciting, but it also can be massively distracting.
Well, yeah. Because then you want to do something else, and then something else.
So
And
why
then you have
does
another
this
idea.
hit high performers the hardest?
Well, I think it hits high performers the hardest because high performers, if you think about them, we are, and I consider myself one, is we're always striving for that next optimization point, that next bar.
Yes, because we were rewarded for thinking of that productivity as a what is the thing? A milestone.
Yeah.
To achieve.
Yeah. And so what happens is that our identity is tied to a level of competence, right? Or completion.
Oh,
Right.
you just named something. Instead of our identity being tied to the job we do and what we produce, our identity as high performers using coding now and doing all these things is going to be tied to how much are we producing? How many new things did we create?
Yeah.
That because it feeds that little dopamine thing in our brain.
Exactly. So there's a name for this pattern, and it's what coaches call achievement fused identity.
Oh wow, that's good.
Yeah. So if you,
AFI,
yeah,
not the American Film Institute. I used to work there,
a whole nother podcast.
but I digress.
Achievement fused identity
Yeah.
is so entrepreneurs and high performers. There's a huge overlap there, right? Because there are lots of high performers that aren't business owners. But this is who we're talking about. And so how much did you do? You know, like, how have you ever been around a group of entrepreneurs at the end of the week, hanging out, maybe having a drink or socializing, and they're like, you know, yeah, I worked 80 hours last week, and they're saying it in like but they're also saying it in like a, you know, yeah, a little pat on the back. I've been busting my ass lately, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, and I've been there too, and I'm still working through it, and it's this like, yeah, that's part of my identity. I really grinded it out. And like let's look at the examples that we have. Well, we have Alex Hormozy, Gary V, who's been around forever, and then the list goes on and on,
Yeah.
right? And so all of these people that you look up to in on YouTube, on social media, because if you're an entrepreneur, you are following somebody like that on social media.
Sure.
And we model them. They're multi-million, sometimes billionaires. You know, Grant Cardone, and we're like Russell Brunson. We want to be like them because we want to have that level of success, and that's our picture of success. And so we start, you know, what happens psychologically is that when you start creating a picture or a vision of success, and you're putting that together with examples, and those examples are of those people, and then the traits that those people have are all the same, then whether we realize it or not, we're starting to condition ourselves that if we want to get there, we have to do that. We have to have those same traits.
Grind that hard.
Grind it out.
Yeah.
And so I've talked to a lot of guys who, in one voice, in one breath, they'll say, oh, yeah, it's just super busy, you know, whatever. But then, and it's kind of like I only got 4 hours of sleep last night or whatever. It's kind of just like, you know, say, pardon my French, it always kind of somehow, maybe not intentionally, turns into like a dick measuring contest.
Sure.
But then in the next breath, when they're getting real, they're just like, I can't do this anymore. Right?
Yeah.
So like
It's not sustainable.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. There's this dichotomy that's happening, and most people aren't even aware of it. And so when you're designed to feel like you're doing something only when you're constantly outputting, then when you're not having to output as much because you've optimized the hell out of your systems with AI and it's doing so much, then that's when you're really going to have the identity problem and the crisis.
So
And I'm going through it right now.
I've watched and I witnessed and I've seen the breakdown. It's sad.
Well, thank you.
How about, is there a test someone can take to find out if they have it? Is there, like, how do you know? Because I think most of us live, if you're a solopreneur, in your own head in your own basement, in your own office, in your own space. You don't get out into the world. There's not a lot of feedback from the rest of the community. You function by yourself. You wear all the hats. Now your AI wears some of the hats, right? You're sitting inside a feedback loop of promise, production, opportunity, and then it just repeats itself as you get further down the road.
Yeah, like
right?
a forest through the trees thing.
Yes, and for those of us who grew up in a grind community, society thinking patterns, we were taught that was what you're supposed to do. I think we just or absorbed it. I didn't take a class. Nobody said this is what you have to do. But I caught on that grind mentality was necessary to get ahead in a world that demanded performance. As the world shifts, and that is no longer the demand, or there's fewer and fewer of those demand performance opportunities, and there's new generations of individuals rejecting the grind mentality, and there's a new generation rejecting AI.
Yeah.
Like, where does it put us? I feel so weird in my generational space because I feel so disconnected from what's coming up behind, like the youth and the generation that is rejecting the very things my life was built on.
Yeah.
And my mentality and personality were built to do.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm finally succeeding at these things and I'm taking off and running with them. And I'm the problem. Like it's weird because I know we can make mistakes along the way. And I don't want to end up, 3 years down the line going, oh my God, I should have pivoted a little differently and it would have been a whole different set of experiences. So how can I tell if I have the
it's easy. So if on a Sunday or a Saturday, you can't sit and just kind of hang out without really doing anything.
I have it. I get. My sister was like, "Are you gonna sit down and watch TV with me?" And I'm like, "Yes, maybe bring my laptop."
Yeah.
And I couldn't sit for 3 hours just watching mindless television without.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to feel like something's getting done.
Yeah.
Actually, what I think it is? It's waiting on me. It's literally waiting on me to approve something. That sits there going, you haven't approved this question. You haven't approved this prompt. You haven't approved this thing. You haven't approved this thing. And I'm like, oh, it's not like an employee that you can say, go home.
Yeah.
You can go home now. I have no access to you. I can't contact you after a certain time. So we have to learn to set those healthy boundaries, which we talked about in the previous episode. Not just boundaries you put into the system, but boundaries for yourself.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Yeah. And you actually just gave me a good idea too, because that's very true. I'll find myself, my agents will go and do the work. And then when it's done, it presents it to me. And I'm like, okay, I got to review it. And then, okay, well, we have phase 2. I'm weeks ahead, but we have phase 3. And I'm like, well, let's move with phase 3.
Yes.
And then it starts.
Well, we can.
Yeah, we
Why
can.
wouldn't we?
And it's doing it. And I'm like, well, I got to sit here and I got to wait till it's done. So I go and do something. I come back and check. Is it done yet? 20 minutes, 30 minutes later. Oh, it's done.
Yeah.
I got to sit. Okay.
Yeah.
I got to review. So yeah, you get in that loop. And so, yeah, just like if you can't, so I'll give you an example, and I am getting better at this. But it takes real effort. Last weekend, I went to a small men's retreat, and Saturday, we all had to take the day to ourselves, right? Like we weren't allowed to really interact with each other or hang out. Like it was a day of solitude, no cell phones. Everybody had their
9
pad,
Perfect Strangers.
Their 9
Perfect Strangers.
Yeah.
The TV series.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, but we had our pads, journals, whatever. And the goal was to sit by ourselves alone with our thoughts long enough to see what came up.
Yeah.
And I would say for the first 2 to 3 hours during the day, I thought I was doing a good job, but I found myself moving. And like, I couldn't just sit still, but I'm like, oh, I'm still thinking, I'm pondering, and I'm paying attention to what's coming up and I'm writing it down, but I couldn't sit still. And I was like, oh shit, I can't sit still.
Which is ironic because you could sit at a computer screen for hours without being interrupted at all.
Yeah.
But if you're out in nature, you can't, and you're dealing with just your thoughts. Mm-hmm. I'm a person who likes to pace.
Uh-huh.
in my thoughts and
Yeah,
physically
me too.
pace. I walk back and forth and think about it, and the pattern of the movement or whatever seems to help me
Yeah.
move through the conversation in my head.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people, you have that too.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I found myself picking up things and like,
out in
cleaning
nature?
some stuff and like
Straightening.
organizing while I was thinking. And I'm like, wait, I'm doing things. Like I'm not literally just walking, just strolling through the forest,
Yeah.
like I had to, so I corrected myself, but it's like, I mean, most people, can you even sit for an hour or two, right?
Yeah.
On the weekend or something.
Yeah.
And I remember sending you that meme a long time ago, or no, that thing. I'm like, you shouldn't be working on the weekend. You sent me back that meme. You're like,
You're cute.
yeah,
What weekend?
yeah.
What's this word you say? I don't think it means what you think it means.
I do not think it means what you think it means.
Yes.
Old movie reference. So that's the test. Like on a Saturday, on a Sunday, if you have kids and you take them to soccer practice or whatever it is, can you be present
Yes.
without having to be like, "You're doing good, Johnny," and then on your phone, like, can you be present really?
And I think we're at a flexion point where right now the time it takes to get this right, the time it takes to use it and have it help us, to help it create automations that are meaningful for us, it's going to require that extra doubling down of our own attention until we get free.
Yeah.
Right? It's not really making less work for me. It's not really saving me time. It's actually opening up opportunities for me to examine other places for more operational efficiency or productivity or things I could build.
Yeah.
I see on the other side of that, after we get further over that development hill, then I will finally start benefiting from the things I've built, and the time will start to open up for me.
Yeah.
What I do need to be thinking about, and this is something you bring up regularly, is what do I plan on doing with that time? If I don't plan on using it wisely, it will get used up somewhere else that I haven't planned for.
Yeah. Oh, I planned. Do you know what I planned with my free time?
You're going to go to Hawaii.
Well, yeah, I could do that. No, I'm going to learn to be a DJ.
Shut up, really?
Yeah.
What EDM music?
Yeah,
Of
EDM,
course.
electronic.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Duh.
Frequency.
I've always wanted to dabble because I just
Yeah.
love it so much.
Yeah.
Why is that? What is it? I think it speaks in terms of rhythm and cadence and tempo.
Yeah.
To our monkey mind.
Yeah. So it also ties into the other passion that I have with frequency and brainwave
Yes.
entrainment and all
Yes.
this other stuff.
Yes.
And I love EDM and electronic techno, house music, all that stuff. And so it's at the men's retreat at the end on Sunday where we were bringing insights. This was the one thing that was the aha moment, because I was just like, what am I going to do with my free time? Because it was the same thing. I love building, but I'm building stuff for work.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm not, that's a cop out. I'm not actually doing something for myself. And then it just came to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually can get back into the stuff that I've loved doing 5 years ago. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. And I already ordered my Pioneer deck and everything, and the headphones and stuff. So I'm excited to do it. And so that was me going through that. And for probably a month, and then my business coach would be like, well, what's next? And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is next. Like my
Was I supposed to be thinking about that?
yeah,
I
I'm
thought
like,
you
my
wanted this.
mind doesn't even, I'm like literally blank. Like, what's next, Matt? And it's like, nothing. Crickets. I've never heard crickets in my brain before, but I heard crickets. The wind was blowing. And it was like nothing was happening there. I'm like, this is weird. And because I didn't have a map for that. So like an NLP we call maps for different things. I didn't have a map for after I reached the level of success where I could pull back, take some time, after the hustle and the grind that I worked so hard to kind of put the time into, and and the training and the partnerships and all these other optimizations that allow me to step back. I didn't have a map for after, so I'm building it now.
Yes.
And this is where those that are listening are going to get hit the hardest. And my hope is that we talk about this enough, that enough people see it and can identify it now. Mm-hmm. So that way you don't find yourself in a painful loop, because with AI, you could optimize, especially if your job like ours is mostly digital or online or like a digitized service. I mean, I could have easily started 2 other businesses and had AI build them and run them.
Yeah.
If I didn't identify this. So you'll always find, like you said, you'll always find a way to fill in the gap.
Yes.
Right. And so if you don't plan for that gap, like what's going to
Well,
happen?
the universe
in
will
that
fill
gap?
it in for you.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And if you're not good at maintaining that boundary so that it's not just dumping more stuff into your space, you'll end up like me, where I'm constantly backfilling my own freedom. Right.
Yeah.
AI doesn't threaten my role. AI demands more of my role. Like I'm finding I'm finally finding my space and my footing with it. And I'm in that window of opportunity right now where it's not necessarily threatening my role, but I am working harder. I am doing more. I am producing, but I'm also very sort of burnt out already and having that sort of AI brain where I'm losing having cognitive dumping because I'm not taking the personal time to give myself that freedom and space to have blank space.
Yeah.
Just looking up in the distance, not on the screen.
Yeah.
Having crickets instead of more ideas to build things.
Yeah.
That quiet time and that quiet space, I think, is valuable and important. That might be the place where you say, this is who I am. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
if we haven't defined in this space who I am, and it just remains empty all the time, then life will find a way to just put more doing, I guess,
Yeah.
in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope I find myself to a point to where someone's like, oh, so what do you do, Matt? And, and I'm like, well, I design and create, perfectly tuned EDM and frequencies to help people heal.
It's a lovely statement. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, do you make a living at that? Like, no. Oh, well, what do you do for, I own a business. That does, like that, like that's where I want to be. But right now somebody asked me like, oh, I'm a founder and CEO, we develop AI implementations and automations for small business owners. It's like, that's my,
What do you do?
You saw how easily it rattled
jump.
off of my tongue.
I laugh. I eat.
Yeah. It's like, that's my identity. So, yeah. So, AI is forcing the question to people, or it will be. There's no hiding. You can't have optimization, period, let alone AI optimization, without having to then examine that and force that question.
That's what I think is happening.
Yeah.
I think this is,
Yep.
we are being forced to examine how we participate in this world through this lens, this very fascinating mirror and lens of AI.
Yeah.
The kinds of questions you ask. Why do you ask them the way you ask them? The kinds of boundaries you set for yourself and the equipment and stuff that you use. The kind of roles you assign and how you define them, right? And then what's fascinating, we do all of that. We leave ourselves out of it. Mm-hmm. And I think this is an interesting place that we're going to end up at, which is at the end of the day, when all that's said and done and we've achieved all the things and built all the stuff, who are we now?
Yeah.
And I think that's what you were asking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's going to basically force every high performer, and at some points even, other people, to face the thing that they've been running from for decades.
Themselves.
Yeah, which is themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's going back to what I meant.
I would revise it a little bit. I don't know that we've been running from ourselves so much as we've been running towards something that never allowed us to define ourselves. We've been chasing opportunity, chasing a paycheck, chasing safety, security, business, whatever it is, right? We've been chasing those things, but we've been abandoning ourselves in order to do it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't intentional by design. It was just what had to be done. Now what we're doing is we're coming back to a place where it looks like on the horizon, AI will finally free up that time and space for us to get back to us. And when we do, we won't recognize who we see in the mirror.
Yeah.
And that's a really fascinating, I think, pivotal moment for us as a society that's coming.
Yeah. And that might be true for you, but for a lot of entrepreneurs, they're literally running for themselves. When they have an opportunity to self-reflect or to see where past trauma is dictating and orchestrating their existing, the way that they react to things, and they have an opportunity to face that, they don't. They run. And so, yeah, some people don't even know it's happening.
Yeah.
And they're just like, it's all trauma response at the end of the day. But there are people that have plenty of opportunity to face it, and they're just like, I ain't talking about that. I'm gonna get back to work, kind of a thing, And so there's gonna come to a point.
I think it's a cliff.
Yeah, where people aren't going to be able to. You're not going to be able to. And so, yeah. So, like, here's the thing. The cool thing about this, the exciting part about this, is that you get to choose who you want to be. You get to choose your identity,
Sure.
right? And so if this is kind of touched a vein and, said something about, you're like, oh, well, yeah, I love what I do. And that's but maybe I do want to do something else. Well, then start thinking about that. Who do you want to become when you're not working or earning a paycheck, whether from your clients or from, your boss or whatever. So yeah. Who would you be if your work disappeared tomorrow? And if you can't answer that, well, then that's the work.
That's the next set of work. And you can't do it with Claude, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, please don't. All right. So we're going to wrap this up. Next time we are on here, we're going to flip the script a little bit. Flip the script. And stop asking what AI can do for you and start asking what it stands for and how to choose AI tools you can actually trust your business with.
100%.
Yeah. We'll see you guys in the next one. Please do all the liking things or the hating things, whatever. I would just love some kind of feedback. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Please validate us and your parking on your way out. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the AI Convergence Podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tune in every Tuesday for conversations about AI, business, and mindset. Stay converging.